Ernest, there are serious racial inequalities which we ought to be dealing with. And we can't ignore the issue of race in South Africa. As things stand today, you have that 67% of managers are white in South Africa. Unemployment largely affects African youth. University participation in South Africa still remains that of the apartheid privileges. So why do you want us to ignore the issue of race?
Well, no, we're not saying that we should ignore the issue of race, but to simply quote figures about top management is also a distortion, because you need to ask the question, if you want to use that measure, you need to ask the question, what is the demographics of people graduating in South Africa? What's the
demographics of course will favor white people. As I said to you, the participation rate, it is because of the participation rate in universities. It is because you are privileged. White people in general are privileged. They have access to universities. When we introduced quotas in the University of Pretoria, AfriForum opposed it. When Stellenbosch tried quotas for entrance, AfriForum opposed it. So that is why the graduation rate will also be skewed.
Don't you think black people are capable enough of competing on an equal level? Do you think it's like Special Olympics for black people?
It's not natural to compete. Black people are more than capable to compete, but you must level the play field. We must have the same infrastructure in the schools as white schools. We must have the same privilege of studying in Africans like you do, which we do not have.
Well, there's many...
And every time there are attempts to introduce African languages, you are the first people to go to court to oppose that.
That's definitely not true. We support the introduction of African languages.
In many instances, you always want to privilege Afrikaans over many languages, including English.
No, that's not true.
It's true. Well, look, Ernest, there are many instances where you've been to the court.
Our entire organization is based on the principle of mother tongue education.
Ernest, you have been, that's what I'm saying to you. You have been to courts on many occasions fighting only for Afrikaans. You have never been to the University of Venda once and said that the mother tongue, the language of teaching and learning should be Venda. You have never been to Zululand and said, we are fighting for the Zulu people around here to say to them, the language of learning and teaching must be isiZulu. Why don't you do that?
Because that would be cultural appropriation. That would be paternalism.
No, white people must go to you are fighting if your principle is mother tongue. If your principle is mother tongue and you believe in the quality which mother tongue brings, that quality must be universal. You must fight for it everywhere.
I agree 100%.
So why are you not doing that? We are doing that because we want to privilege Afrikaans. No, because we firmly believe that Afrikaans is a superior language compared to other languages, and if things are not done in Afrikaans, then they ought not to be done. Will you give me the opportunity to? I'm giving you the opportunity to answer, Ernest. We would gladly support any organization. I'm saying this on air now. We would gladly support any organization that wants to promote mother tongue education and multilingualism. That's the principle, the language principle in which we are based. So if you want us to become involved with a court battle in Venda University, we would do so. We're not going to go there as white people and tell the black. But you have been to other areas which I commend. You have been to other areas which I commend you for, where you have assisted learners to fight for education, to have access to decent schooling. Yes. Why don't you think that? Yes, that's what I'm saying. You chose black people. You went to them. They didn't invite you. No, why don't you go to the Venda community there? No, they invited us. It's a black community. So now, tell me, what is generally what is the attitude? What is the attitude of AfriForum towards transformation? Why are you so fundamentally opposed to policies that want to emancipate the majority of black people to live in poverty on a daily basis? Why are you opposed to economic transformation? Why are you opposed to black people owning shares? Why are you opposed to black people? You are fighting racial discrimination. You are fighting Discovery now. You are saying they can't give 10% to black people.
We're not saying that black people shouldn't be allowed to own shares in Discovery. We're saying that there shouldn't be a blacks-only policy.
No, there should be a blacks-only policy. You need to level the play field. The injustices of the past can only be corrected if you level the play field. If you do not level the play field, these inequalities, just by the way, Ernest, are not a blessing from God. They were men created. They were created by colonialism and apartheid.
Which man created
the many people who were legislators in South Africa in colonialism, and the many people who were legislators in South Africa in under apartheid.
You know, there's been inequality since the agricultural revolution.
Inequality is always there. Let's take a call, Ernest, and we'll get back to the discussion.
Hello there. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hello, Mike.
Yes. Hi there. Good evening. Can you hear me?
I'm good, Mike, and you?
I'm good, thank you very much. My question is this. well, let's just cut to the chase here. What we have here is an ANC that is in panic mode. They have an election coming up next year. Only about 11 or 12 months ago, Derek Hanekom, ANC MP, said expropriation without compensation would be seriously unjust and do great damage to South Africa. It has done great damage. The rand collapsed the day that Cyril Ramaphosa announced it. We have an ANC that has sold our company out to the Guptas. We only have to hear that from the Zondo Commission. The ANC has lost us 5-6 million jobs in the last 5-6 years, and we are in serious trouble with all our SOEs, and we have power failures as we speak. All the ANC is doing, and I can hear it from the debate tonight, is taking us away from the real issues of this country, playing black against white. And this land expropriation without compensation is an absolute nonsense, and it really is just the race card being played on a massive scale, and it's not going to happen next year because it's not what South Africans want. People want jobs, they want honesty, they don't want the corrupt ANC that we have in power today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. Mike, I have to politely differ with you when you say that land expropriation without compensation is not what South Africans want. South Africans have spoken throughout the length and breadth of South Africa that they want land expropriation without compensation. The ANC can never be in panic mode, and I doubt we are in panic mode as the ANC. In fact, we're at our best time. Even surveys continue to support that President Cyril Ramaphosa is extremely popular amongst the electorate, and the ANC is as popular as he is. So in my view is that the ANC is going to win next year's elections. There's no need to panic. We're just addressing inequalities of the past. Hello, Ronaldo, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good.
Thanks, man, Dumi. So I just wanted to with that and go on with that. What they decided to was to go on with the EFF and now do land expropriation without compensation. So, yeah, the ANC, unfortunately, I disagree with you. They're not in a good place right now. There's internal battles, and all we need to look at is Batlamini Dlamini, and the fact that she's still there, it shows that there's still a faction within the ANC. And unfortunately, the ANC is going to learn the hard way this election what's going to take place, and that is being brought under 60% for the first time in history.
No, thank you very much, Ronald. Ronald, I don't think you are accurate when you say that the ANC failed dismally on land reform in the past 5 years and not to give the context of what happened. The truth of the matter is that whenever we attempted to take land or to negotiate with white landowners, there was an issue of a high cost which they claimed all the time. Up until we attempted to introduce the surveyor, general. The second issue which we must get to is to say that every time there was these issues, there were also issues of courts. So we can't run away from that, and that delayed the process of land transformation. That is why now we are saying we want the Constitution of South Africa to be explicit and say that it is permissible to expropriate land without compensation, and such that the land will go to its rightful owners, the indigenous people of South Africa. Let's go to a break.